Welcome to Jerry Recap. The story continues. Lu Xing in the picture has reached the end of the passage. At the end of the passage, there is only a huge platform that connects all the passages. In the center of the platform is a huge iron cage with a huge humanoid body several meters high stood quietly. The huge figure blocked the overhead lights and cast shadows. Only a pair of dark golden eyes full of tyrannical aura could be seen, and there was a terrifying gasp like rolling lava. It was golden-eyed demon ape, a quasi-level 5 alien beast. Even through the monitoring screen, the officers present could feel the great pressure brought by the beast. At this time, Dong Qingxue, who had been in charge of the data report, hesitated and explained, "The golden-eyed demon ape in the last level has not yet been released. In fact, whether this level should be carried out or not is jointly decided by the talented representatives who arrived here. If they feel that all the people who have reached this level are strong enough, they can press the button in front of the iron cage to release the magic ape. If you feel that your strength is not enough, you can give up the challenge of this last level." Qin Xiaojuan's expression was very surprised, and his face was full of pride and joy. Dong Qinggu was much calmer, but the white trembling hands tightly clenched under the small table board proved that she was equally excited and couldn't contain herself. Lu Xing gave her too many surprises. She knew that Lu Xing was so strong that she couldn't even see through it, but she never thought that Lu Xing could be so strong as Qiming General Star. The dream that was unattainable even in the past is now about to be realized by the students under him. With the strength of Lu Xing, as long as Xing Ji and others arrive, it will definitely be enough to kill this quasi-5th level demon ape. Oh no, maybe not many people are needed at all. As long as there are 1 or 2 people assisting him, there is a chance. Now, a school official said. A school official murmured, "That is to say, this Lu Xing is basically the star of this session." The school officials who heard these words all had complex expressions on their faces. The horror of Lu Xing's strength is obvious to all, and becoming a general is almost an indisputable fact. Now, as long as Lu Xing waits quietly until the other talented representatives arrive at the final stage and defeat the last golden-eyed demon ape, he can become a general star of Qiming. Dong Qingxue looked at Lu Xing in the picture, feeling a little excited. While the people were talking, Lu Xing in the picture suddenly raised his head and stared at the golden-eyed magic ape in front of him for a while. And then, a fist hit the pillar in front of him. The column collapsed, and the button inlaid on it was also dented. With the sound of the machine, the iron gate of the cage rose upwards. The huge golden-eyed demon ape was now freed. A huge and terrifying orangutan beast appeared in front of everyone. Lu Xing backed off as he freed the demon ape. Lu Xing's eyes gradually lit up, subconsciously sticking out his tongue and licking his lips. The whole person seemed a little excited. "Is this a quasi-level 5 alien beast? I don't know if I can test my current strength limit." Lu Xing looked at the huge alien beast slowly walking out of the cage. Waves of tyrannical aura rushed towards him, accompanied by a strong stench and bloody smell. The opponents he had encountered before were either too weak or too strong. Right now, the quasi-level 5 golden-eyed demon ape in front of him happened to be a near-perfect test subject. It can bring him a little pressure, but it will not make him feel any fear. "Come on, let me see, what's the difference between a quasi-5th level alien beast and a 5th level warrior?" Lu Xing's combat power has already exceeded the 5th level, but he has never played against a serious 5th level warrior. "Come on, don't let other people disturb the battle between us," he said. At this moment, the conference hall fell into some kind of inexplicable suffocation. All the school officials stared blankly at the picture of the boy facing the giant beast on the screen, their expressions stagnant. After a long time, a slightly trembling voice sounded in the conference hall. Does he want to challenge the golden-eyed demon ape alone?" Everyone in the conference hall was dumbfounded. This kid is really going to challenge the golden-eyed demon ape alone. Is he too confident or dumb? A school official pondered for a while and said with a serious expression, "With what he showed before, the subtle level movement technique, various perfect martial arts, powerful combat skills, and fighting instinct, maybe he really has a chance to defeat the golden-eyed demon ape. Indefinite. The others thought for a while and nodded in agreement. After all, so far, Lu Xing's strength has not bottomed out. The school officer who spoke before continued, the premise is that he will not choose to confront the golden-eyed demon ape head-on. Lu Xing kicked the damaged pillar in front of him and urged the golden-eyed demon ape. The 5th-level alien beast already has a certain level of intelligence, and it can feel the contempt in Lu Xing's words and actions. This is undoubtedly a great challenge to its majesty. The demon ape roared loudly, it echoed throughout the hall. The golden-eyed demon ape raised his arms and kept on roaring, causing the surrounding passages to hum, and the fluorescent tubes on the ceiling above his head flickered. Even the screen displayed on the screen in the conference hall rippled. The golden-eyed demon ape shot violently, and the sturdy arm was so fast that ordinary people could not catch it with the naked eye. Lu Xing moved his body, and his neck and joints made a crisp sound. The internal strength has transformed into astral chi, and both the combat power and the defense power have ushered in a surge. The huge fists of golden demonic ape were about to crush Lu Xing. Let's try level 5 speed first switch, breath of the wind. Lu Xing's figure disappeared directly on the spot, almost turning into a cloud of blue smoke, like a mist. The golden-eyed demon ape kept shooting, and fists the size of buckets roared like the wind, but they could only smash pits one after another on the hard floor. How is that possible? Someone immediately shook his head and retorted, the golden-eyed demon ape is known for its strength, and even a 5th-level warrior with astral chi protection would not dare to compete head-on with the golden-eyed demon ape. This kid's fighting instinct is frightening, how could he be so stupid? Halfway through the man's words, his eyes landed on the screen, and the second half of the words got stuck in his throat and couldn't come out. In the picture, Lu Xing, who had been dodging all the time, suddenly stopped. Lu Xing stood still, facing the fist that the golden-eyed demon ape slammed down, and grabbed its huge fists. Just as he held on to the huge fists, the demonic ape did not stop there and again raised its fist. The barrage of punches kept on going. No one knew what was going on, or what had happened to Lu Xing. Due to the punches of demonic ape, the hole was covered with dust and Lu Xing disappeared in the dust. Sheng, who was watching everything with keen eyes, smirked as he watched Lu Xing getting crushed under the huge fists of demonic ape. He laughed and said, "Haha, arrogant and ignorant brat. Taking a fierce blow head-on from golden-eyed demon ape like this. Even with 10 lives, you would not survive." Dong Qingshua's eyes were locked on the screen, with sweat pouring down her head. On the screen, the golden-eyed demon ape was still punching down aimlessly to crush its opponent. The mist that covered the whole scene started to fade, and from within the mist suddenly came a fist. It was Lu Xing. He used the power of his body to punch the demon ape. Both of their fists clashed and created a huge tremor. The screen in the conference room also flickered. The banging of the two fists produced a wave of air that was almost visible to the naked eye, causing a circle of debris to fly around, and banged loudly. The huge body of the golden-eyed demon ape trembled a little, and its figure stepped back a few steps before hitting the metal iron cage heavily, smashing the hard metal iron cage into a slight bend. Lu Xing in the selection channel was slowly raising his head. Yes, it can stop my pure 10 times the power of the stars. Lu Xing gently kneaded his slightly sore right arm joint, looked at the golden-eyed magic ape who was also in shock in front of him, and grinned, revealing a bright and cold smile. You are eligible to be my dinner tonight. After speaking, Lu Xing took a deep breath. In the next second, a bright golden light bloomed in his eyes. He activated the breath of flame. The air behind him began to twist slightly, and it seemed that 10 golden suns were rising. The voice of Sheng, who was bad-mouthing Lu Xing and now got beaten in the face, also became weak. He could not even utter a single word out of his mouth. On the screen, Lu Xing glared at the demon ape for a moment, and then spoke, "This punch, you can die in peace." Lu Xing took his stance on the master technique 10 suns on the same day. Lu Xing then suddenly punched. The golden-eyed demon ape roared. It could detect the danger coming toward its body. A mass of light erupted in the surveillance screen. Incomparably dazzling golden light. It's like a sun suddenly appears in the picture. The 10 scorching sun radiates infinite light and infinite heat, covering everything. Major General Yufei's eyes were bright, and his face showed a smile for the first time. At this time, the more he looked at Lu Xing, the more he liked it, but after this scene, in the conference hall, the admiration on Major General Yufei's face suddenly froze, and the whole person suddenly stood up from the chair. Dong Qingshue's eyes were also widened, with her face wide open. She could not believe what she was witnessing. A 14-year-old boy having such great strength, it was beyond her wildest imagination. Soon, the light dissipated. The huge surveillance screen changed from blur to clear again. The golden-eyes demon ape was now lifeless. Its eyes turned white as if its vitality ended. Everyone was able to see the scene presented on the screen clearly. All of a sudden the huge conference hall fell into a dead silence. They saw in the picture, a young boy with a calm face was slowly closing his fists. The golden-eyed demon ape who had just blocked him was now embedded in the wall at the end of the passage, like a specimen of an alien beast that had been nailed to the wall. The front chest of the golden-eyed demon ape showed a bloody hole as if it had been hit by a cannonball. As for the special metal cage placed behind it, it was also squeezed into a twisted mass at this time, and it was completely impossible to see. General Yufei's eyes widened in an instant, his body leaned forward, and he stared at the boy, who raised his hand and waved his fist in the picture, like a scorching sun. "This is the will of master-level martial arts?" said Yufei. Only Yufei stood, his straight body trembling slightly. He was laughing uncontrollably, with a dazzling brilliance in his eyes. He spoke while smashing his fists hard on the table. "Grandmaster's will. I didn't expect that in my Yufei's lifetime. I would still see someone condensing the Grandmaster's will at the age of the week, and the road to the 7th level was opened up. Given time, I will definitely add another Grandmaster to the Eastern District. Young Master!" Yufei's extremely carefree laughter resounded through the conference hall. The Grandmaster's blood was pounding, the conference hall was shaken like thunder, and many school officials were in a trance. Qin Xiaojun was also surprised. Now Lu Xing had even passed him in strength. Lu Xing was not surprised by this result. He looked around the huge hall to check if there were other assessments. Is it possible that there will be a level after quasi-level 5 alien beasts? Lu Xing guessed but quickly rejected his idea. Impossible, the quasi-level 5 alien beast is enough to be a supermodel. I am afraid that others will not be able to survive this selection if they face this beast. He released his mental energy and swept around, only to find that the customs clearance exit had already appeared. "Let's remove the body of the magic ape, and I am the General Star of Qiming," he said. Lu Xing looked calm but did not act immediately. His huge mental power radiated around like radar and penetrated into the entrances of the surrounding passages. Lu Xing suddenly had an interesting idea at this time. He quickly put it into action. He walked to the corpse of the golden-eyed demon ape, where he had previously placed the golden-eyed demon ape's cage, and sat down with his knees crossed. Closed his eyes, as if waiting quietly for something. In the conference hall, a school official couldn't help but speak. What does he want to do? The golden-eyed demon ape in the last level was killed by him alone. Why didn't he leave? At this time, everyone in the conference hall was in a state of powerlessness. Lu Xing gave them too many shocks, and the shock was so great that everyone felt numb and mentally tired. Yufei stared at the surveillance screen with burning eyes and a smile on his face all the time. After a while, he understood what was trying to do. He didn't care about the questions of the people below him. He directly waved his hand and ordered, "Whatever he does, let him go. As long as he doesn't kill everyone, he can play whatever he wants." The school officials looked at each other. The meaning of Yufei's words is that Lu Xing is now in the sky. In Yufei's eyes, this talent selection, which has reached the scale of the entire Eastern District, doesn't seem to be important at all. All he cares about is one person. That is Lu Xing. As long as Lu Xing is happy, it doesn't matter if this event is related to the selection of top talents in the entire Eastern District, and it doesn't matter if it becomes his own game. In the selection channel, several officers who were about to go out to receive Lu Xing and announce the end of the selection heard the latest instruction from the headset and retreated with complicated expressions. Yu Shizhua has ordered it, and it can only be left to Lu Xing. Lu Xing clearly felt that several figures who were about to approach him quickly retreated, and his heart relaxed. At this time, there were also people approaching quickly in several passages in front of him. A smile appeared on the corner of Lu Xing's mouth. There was a bit of bad taste in this smile on a whim. The selection of Qiming generals is over. But Lu Xing's game had just begun. A strong and burly body rushed out of the passage, and a dark-skinned boy who looked like a brown bear appeared on the surveillance screen. Xingji gasped slightly, trying to regain the stamina he had used up before. The alien beast he just met was too strong, and even he took a lot of effort to solve it. Even with the iron skin body protection, he was injured in some places on his body, and at this time, bursts of stinging pain were coming. As he entered the last room where the demon ape was caged, he spoke. It should be the clearance. I'm the first, right? Xingji glanced at the surrounding passages, and when he found that no one was there, he breathed a sigh of relief. But when his eyes moved to the platform not far in front of him, his pupils contracted fiercely. Just looking at it from a distance, he felt a fierce breath coming towards his face, making the hair stand up all over his body. Golden-eyed demon ape. A 5th-level alien beast in adulthood. And he is the overlord of the 5th-level alien beast. He saw someone. A boy, to be precise, similar to his age, fair-skinned and handsome, tall and straight. He was sitting quietly in the center of the platform. He closed his eyes, his face was calm, and he didn't know whether he had fallen asleep or awake. What really shook Xingji's heart was what was behind the boy. He saw a gorilla beast about 4 or 5 meters high, covered with long black hair and exaggeratedly strong limbs. Xingji recognized the identity of the beast at a glance. But what shocked Xingji the most was not that he saw the overlord of the 5th-level alien beasts, the golden-eyed demon ape, but that this golden-eyed demon ape was dead, just a corpse. A huge blood hole was broken open in his chest, and his entire body was deeply embedded in the wall as if he had been punched into the wall to become a specimen decoration. Who can beat the golden-eyed demon ape, the overlord of the 5th-level alien beasts, like this with one punch? Xingji was shocked, and his first reaction was to look at the boy on the platform. Could it be him? Impossible. Xingji instantly rejected this guess. It takes at least the strength of a 6th-level warrior to be able to punch the golden-eyed demon ape into the wall. Maybe it's just a simple decoration of exotic animal specimens, specially designed to shock us. Xingji comforted himself in his heart, but he was a little puzzled. What do you mean now? Have I passed the selection? Who is this young man? He hesitated for a while, then asked Lu Xing. Lu Xing did not move or even look at the young man, and just told him to wait. Xingji couldn't figure it out. Everything was a little different from what he expected. He wanted to ask the boy on the platform, but he was a little hesitating for a while. At this moment, there were clear footsteps in 2 more passages beside them. Xingji's face instantly returned to calm, and he quickly looked to both sides. Not long after, 2 figures appeared one after another in the passage. A handsome young man, holding some black spikes tightly in his hands, sweating profusely. The other is a girl with long hair that reaches her waist. The state is not much better than that of the teenager. Her face is as white as paper. The moment the 2 appeared, they looked at each other immediately, and there was mutual fear in their expressions. Then they saw the teenager on the platform and a very visually striking scene behind the teenager. The pupils narrowed sharply. The sudden sound startled the 2 young boys and girls, who were astonished. The girl's body lit up with tiny electric lights, and the black spikes in the boy's hand all flew up in an instant. The two stared at Xingji as if facing a great enemy. But Xingji just looked at them blankly. Soon, the boy in the white shirt recognized Xingji's identity and blurted out. "You are Xingji from Shilin province, participated in the selection just like us." "Yes, and I came out a few minutes before you guys." Xingji nodded. The two of them breathed a sigh of relief and put down their guard, but their faces were not very good-looking. After all, Jia Haoran already knew that this selection was for racing, and Xingji came out earlier than them, proving that they were already behind in terms of performance. "Then, what does that mean?" The blue-haired girl looked in the direction Jia Haoran was pointing. Her face turned pale. She pointed towards the platform and frowned. Who was he? "We have passed the selection or not?" Xingji shook his head and said that he didn't know either. And then he spoke. "That corpse should be meant to scare us. Otherwise, no one would be able to defeat the golden-eyed demon ape." Xingji stared at the handsome boy on the stage, his eyes passing from time to time over the golden-eyed demon ape behind him. A thought flashed in his eyes, and he said, "I guess this person should be the gatekeeper or something like our selection for the last level. After passing his test, we may be able to go out." Xingji said out loud while pointing at Lu Xing. Jia Haoran and the long-haired girl frowned slightly and were about to speak. At this time, a clear voice sounded from the platform. "You are very smart." The three immediately looked up. They saw that the handsome boy on the platform had opened his eyes and stood up at some point. He looked down at the three of them condescendingly and said, "Now give you 15 minutes to adjust your state." 15 minutes later. The handsome young man stretched out his hands and smiled, and there seemed to be 2 rounds of golden sun rising in his eyes. "Challenge me, beat me, kill me. Let me take a good look. What the hell are the qualifiers for this year's Qiming Generals?" Lu Xing's voice resounded throughout the grand hall. "Really?" Xingji had a surely I guessed it look on his face. "It seems that in the final round of selection, we will no longer face alien beasts, but pressure from the gatekeepers." Jia Haoran spoke while pointing toward Lu Xing. "Such a young gatekeeper? We only have to face him." Jia Haoran snorted coldly while looking at Lu Xing. Kong Qing frowned as he looked at Lu Xing and then spoke coldly. "Looking at him, he does not have any astral energy. He does not seem to be that strong. Are the people in the eastern military region looking down on us?" said Jia Haoran. After all, the three of them had even killed so many 2nd, 3rd, and even 4th level alien beasts before. At the last level, what they saw was a boy about the same age as them. With our current state, it's really not an easy thing to beat him. "Let's recover our energy before fighting him," said Xingji. They pulled out an energy-recovering pill and started recovering their energy. Jia Haoran looked at Lu Xing on the platform. His eyes narrowed slightly, and he said slowly, "I can feel that this guy is not weak. As he is a spiritual master, he is more sensitive to everything. How strong can we be? The 3 of us represent the top combat power in the entire East under the age of 18. Xingji took a deep breath and sat down with a calm expression. 15 minutes is enough. The long-haired girl took out a small blue pill from her close pocket and threw it into her mouth. When the white-shirt boy saw that the 2 of them were taking a break, he quickly sat down with his legs crossed, took out a small bottle from his arms, poured the remaining half-tube of purple medicine into his mouth, and closed his eyes. This is the mental recovery medicine he specially reserved before, and now it finally comes in handy. Seeing that the 3 of them began to concentrate on recovering their strength, Lu Xing showed a satisfied smile on his face, and looked down at the watch on his wrist, counting minutes by second. This kid. In the conference hall, the corners of the school officials' mouths twitched slightly, and their faces were speechless. Unexpectedly, Lu Xing pretended to play the game of the great demon king pretending to be the gatekeeper who selected the last level. The key is that the 3 of Xingji really believed it. I really don't know how these 3 teenagers will feel when the truth is revealed. One of the officers stood up and spoke up. Even Yufei was made to laugh. looking at Lu Xing in the picture with admiration, and boasted, "This Lu Xing is interesting, really interesting." At this time, a school official stood up and said loudly, "Master, I request to end the selection immediately." He further said with a serious expression, "This genius representative of Dongning province is far beyond the others, and it is likely to cause physical and psychological indelible blows to other genius representatives." Seeing the nameplate of the provincial capital in front of the 3 school officials who stood up and strongly demanded that the selection be ended immediately, the others understood immediately. Dongzi Province, Jianzhou Province, Shilin Province. It turned out to be the chief instructor behind the 3 of Xingji. They were worried that their geniuses would be broken by Lu Xing. When the 4th level alien beast, or even the quasi-5th level alien beast, the golden-eyed demon ape, showed up, few people had any opinion. Now that the alien beasts have been replaced by humans, they are worried instead. This also proves from one side how dangerous Lu Xing is in everyone's heart at this time. After hearing the opinions of the 3, Yu Fei thought about it and then said, "Well, let the supervisors raise their awareness and be ready to take action at any time. Don't let Lu Xing break the 3 of them." "Yes." Dong Qingxuan nodded and quickly conveyed Yu Fei's instructions. Dong Qingge suddenly thought of something and glanced in one direction. She saw Sheng Guanling, who was sitting in the seat with a dazed expression on his face. This guy seems to have maintained this posture, sitting with this expression for a long time. Dong Qingxue suddenly felt a little sympathetic to this guy. 3 copies of the 5th level exotic marrow, even for people of their level, have to bleed once. 15 minutes is up. Lu Xing put down his hand and reminded the 3 in front of him. Xingji stood up from the ground, twisted his neck slightly, and the joints of his body made a crisp clicking sound. "My state has returned to 90%. Xingji looked at Lu Xing indifferently and said lightly, "But it's more than enough to deal with this guy. 80% would be enough to deal with this guy." The long-haired girl Kong Qing also stood up, her eyes flashing with blue lightning, which looked very beautiful. Jia Haoran, who was wearing a white shirt, also opened his eyes and let out a sigh of relief. He looked bright, and even his face was quite rosy. "I'm also about 80%. Beside Jia Haoran, 27 black spikes were suspended, showing their sharp edges under the light, like letters in the mouth of a poisonous snake. The 3 of them stared at Lu Xing on the platform from a distance. Jia Haoran lightly licked his slightly dry lips, his eyes passed over Lu Xing, and landed on the corpse of the golden-eyed demon ape behind him. With light flashing in his eyes, he smiled and said, "Don't say it's this guy now, even if it's the golden-eyed demon ape. I have the courage to challenge it for a round." Xingji and Kong Qing also glanced at the golden-eyed demon ape. Lu Xing glanced down at the 3 of them from a height, and felt the raging fighting spirit exuding from the 3 of them, and his face showed satisfaction. "It's better to have courage. Come on together, knock me down, and you will be the new Qiming generals," said Lu Xing. "Together? I'm enough alone?" Xingji pointed toward himself and said while smirking. Lu Xing's voice just fell, and a figure slammed on the floor and rushed towards him. Damn! A circle of fine electric current burst out around Kong Qing's body, and her face was a little unsightly. We let him take the lead again. However, Jia Haoran looked like he was holding back, and smiled lightly. "It's okay if I guessed correctly. This last level should be calculated based on the time it takes to defeat the gatekeeper. Xingji likes to be the first, so let him go first, just to let him try the strength of this gatekeeper." Kong Qing's expression was startled, and after thinking about this, her face suddenly relaxed. But then again, this guy's strength is really terrifying. He should be the strongest among the 3 of us. Jia Haoran looked at Xingji's back and said solemnly. Kong Qing looked up. She saw that Xingji at this time had already jumped into the air, raising his right fist. He was close to 2 meters, and his burly body far exceeding his peers blocked most of the lights on the ceiling, and only a shadow cast from the bottom to the top. Xingji punched Lu Xing, who was in the middle of the platform, with a wild and wanton gesture. This punch had not yet landed, and a huge momentum overflowed, making Jia Haoran and Kong Qing behind them look moved. At this moment, Jia Haoran suddenly felt a burst of regret in their hearts. What if Sheng Ji killed the gatekeeper in one move? The guy who is guarding the gate looked so thin that maybe he couldn't even take a punch from Sheng Ji. He is a 4th-level martial artist. The two were annoyed when they caught sight of Sheng Ji's power. Standing in the middle of the platform, Lu Xing raised his hand. Sheng Ji was closing on him with great momentum. He was laughing arrogantly, thinking he would crush Lu Xing in a single strike. Lu Xing raised a hand calmly, and used only a finger to stop Sheng Ji's whole body. He then played with his finger a little while yawning, as if he did not care about such little tricks. Sheng Ji, who was a certified genius from his whole province, was now witnessing the true terror of someone powerful. Lu Xing in the end just pushed him back a little. In that instant, a figure flew back upside down at an extremely fast speed, flew upside down for dozens of meters, and flew directly into the passage from where it came. There was a sound of heavy objects rolling in the passage. And finally, the figure slammed right into the steel wall. Jia Haoran and Kong Qing stood there dumbfounded, looking at the platform dumbfoundedly. Behind them, they could see the collapsed body of Sheng Ji. Everything happened in an instant. They saw Lu Xing looking down at the two of them silently, with a calm expression on his face. "You two, are you ready to go one by one?" Jia Haoran was numb. The hairs on the back stand upright, and cool air rises from the tailbone and travels all over the body in an instant. This guy knocked out Sheng Ji with one punch? The long-haired girl Kong Qing spoke with difficulty, as if she couldn't believe what had just happened, so she confirmed with Jia Haoran again. "How old is he? Why is his strength so terrifying?" Jia Haoran replied with an ugly face, "I heard that some warriors were too ambitious when they were young, taking tonics indiscriminately, causing hormone disorders in their bodies, and their bodies stopped developing early, so even in their 30s and 40s, they still look like young people. This guy must be in a similar situation. He looks like 17 or 18 years old, in fact, maybe he is at the age of our fathers." Kong Qing had a horrified expression and murmured in disbelief. "The military is too cunning. They deliberately found such a person to deceive us. The purpose is to make us take it lightly." "Yes," Jia Haoran said with a complicated expression. "After all, it is the selection of the entire eastern region, and any means will be used. But I really didn't expect that the final test would be so outrageous." Lu Xing on the platform listened to the whispers between the two, and 10,000 ellipses flew in his heart. These two guys. Could it be that the brain was damaged by a strange beast? Two big fools. Has the discussion been done? As Lu Xing spoke, both of them backed away a few steps. Lu Xing couldn't help but say, "Why don't we change the way? As long as you can make me take a step back, or block my attack, I will count you through." Jia Haoran and Kong Qing looked at each other for a moment, and hope ignited in their eyes. Without much consideration, the two made a decision at the same time with a tacit understanding. Kong Qing suddenly burst out with a ball of electric light. Jia Haoran also took a deep breath, his eyes flashing brightly, with the iron spikes floating around him. In an instant, the 27 black spikes in front of him shot out at the same time, so fast that the naked eye couldn't catch them. Kong Qing also disappeared instantly, charging towards Lu Xing. "Yes, that's what it looks like." Lu Xing's eyes lit up with a smile on his face. A trace of surprise flashed across Jia Haoran's face, and he whispered to himself, "Even if you are strong enough to underestimate a spiritual teacher, and I am still a second-level spiritual teacher, you are destined to regret it." Lu Xing stretched out a hand and grabbed the air in front of him. It looks like he wants to catch the fly in front of him with his bare hands. Jia Haoran saw Lu Xing in front of him suddenly transformed into countless arms in an instant, and each arm grabbed a black spike. In the blink of an eye, all the arms disappeared. 27 black long nails lay quietly in the palm of Lu Xing's palm, rolling down to the ground one by one, making a crisp sound. "Too weak." Lu Xing shook his head, his expression a little disappointed. He doesn't even need to release his huge third-level mental power. He only needs to activate the sense of time, plus control-level boxing. In his eyes, the 27 black spikes driven by Jia Haoran's secondary mental power were as slow as a 0.5x speed movie. The expression on Jia Haoran's face froze, his eyes widened, and the eyeballs almost didn't pop out of their sockets. It was like seeing an extremely incredible scene. How can that be? Jia Haoran couldn't help but scream, his voice distorted. Jia Haoran stood there dumbfounded, his mind blank. He actually grabbed the dense iron weapon that I pushed with all my strength. There seems to be something collapsing in Jia Haoran's mind. It was the sound of broken faith. Next is you, little Pikachu. Lu Xing no longer looked at the stupid Jia Haoran, and his eyes fell on Kong Qing, who had approached him in an instant. Kong Qing's right hand became a claw and wanted to grab Lu Xing's fragile neck. Hearing this sentence, the whole person was stunned for a moment. Pikachu? What is Pikachu? Kong Qing couldn't see Lu Xing's face clearly, only a pair of bright golden eyes like a big devil. The next moment, a pair of slender and powerful palms gently grasped her wrist. Your chief instructor didn't teach you that you can't be distracted while fighting? Kong Qing suddenly came back to her senses, and when she looked up, she saw Lu Xing appearing in front of her. The not-so-generous body completely blocked the lights overhead, as if a terrifying shadow spread rapidly. Kong Qing's scalp felt numb in an instant, as if standing very close to a beast all of a sudden, that kind of creepy feeling. Damn! She subconsciously wanted to retreat, but the hands that grabbed her were clasping her wrists like iron tongs, making her unable to move at all. Lu Xing looked directly into Kong Qing's eyes and calmly said, "Shock me." Kong Qing was rather dumbfounded at Lu Xing's words. Don't you understand? Lu Xing frowned and said with some dissatisfaction, I said to use your 100,000 volts to power me. If I am satisfied, I may consider letting you pass the test. Kong Qing was stunned for a few seconds. She gritted her teeth and tried her best to release the elemental power in her body. She couldn't understand why someone would take the initiative to ask for electricity. But since the other party wanted to, let him do it. A dark blue electric light burst out from her body, like countless tiny thunder snakes, passing along her slender wrist to Lu Xing's arms. The moment when the current passed from Kong Qing's body, Lu Xing's body froze slightly, feeling a little numb, a little tingling like a needle. But when the qi and blood in his body started to flow, the numbness, stiffness, and tingling subsided a lot. Although the cultivation of the first stage of the immortal golden body of stellar body refinement technique has not been completed, the physique after tempering is still unparalleled, surpassing ordinary third-level warriors many times. Resistance to elemental abilities also reaches a very high level. Moreover, when Lu Xing began to actively run the natural breathing method, the remaining numbness, stiffness, and tingling quickly subsided. Lu Xing's fourth special breathing method was conceived at this moment. Breath of Thunder. This is also the real purpose of Lu Xing's request of Kong Qing. I feel that the thunder breathing technique has been fully comprehended, and the effect of the electric current passed from Kong Qing is no longer obvious. Lu Xing let go of the hands that grabbed Kong Qing, laughed, and said to Kong Qing, "Very good, you passed the selection." Her face was flushed red, and Kong Qing, who was trying to generate electricity, was stunned when she heard these words. Kong Qing was stunned for 5 seconds, and then a huge sense of surprise and excitement began to appear on her face. Her fair and pretty face was flushed, and she seemed to be repeating in disbelief. I passed the selection. I'm the only one who passed the selection. I'm the General Star of Qiming. She started jumping in excitement. She has passed the final level. She officially stood out from this selection and became the final winner. Qiming General Star. Representing the entire East, the title of martial arts genius with the strongest combat power and the highest talent under the age of 18. Supreme Glory. Even though she has been working hard for this title all the time, when she really got this honor, Kong Qing still couldn't believe it. Kong Qing reacted abruptly, and stood upright in front of Lu Xing, extremely serious, and thankfully thanked Lu Xing. "Thank you, instructor, for your approval." Kong Qing suddenly made a decision, and solemnly said to Lu Xing, "Instructor, don't you like to call me Pikachu? Then my nickname will be Pikachu." Lu Xing looked at the kind expression of his predecessors. His eyes full of approval fell on Kong Qing, and nodded. "You don't need to thank me. You are good enough to be recognized by me. Keep working hard, little Pikachu." Lu Xing didn't know what Kong Qing's name was, so he could only call her Pikachu. Jia Haoran and Xing Ji, who was not far away, were stunned. Kong Qing passed the selection? Jia Haoran and Xing Ji looked complicated, with deep frustration and loss on their faces. They admitted that they underestimated the difficulty of the final stage of the selection. But who would have thought that the strength of this gatekeeper would be so perverted? So powerful that it is almost invulnerable. It is like an insurmountable mountain, making people desperate. The key is to have such a young, deceptive face. Just when Kong Qing was immersed in great joy, and Xing Ji and Jia Haoran were deeply confused, two tall and straight figures in military uniforms came out of the passage on one side. "Enough, Lu Xing from Dongning Province." An officer looked at Lu Xing with complicated and helpless eyes. "Master said, you're almost done playing. It's time to go back and prepare for the commendation ceremony of Qiming General. And this selection is basically over." Lu Xing nodded. After that, Lu Xing followed the officer and left towards the side door. As for the remaining officer, he was looking at Kong Qing and the three with a look of pity. At this time, Kong Qing was completely confused, and an extremely bad premonition rose in her heart. "Instructor, what did the instructor just say mean?" "What do you mean? Let him go back to accept Qiming Jiangxing's commendation. Qiming Jiangxing is not me. Isn't that person the gatekeeper who selected the last level?" "What do you mean?" "Literally." Jia Haoran and Xing Ji were also confused. Just then, Jia Haoran shouted in disbelief, "Could it be?" He could not finish his words. The officer looked at the three of them sympathetically and said, "The one who just left is the same as you, and he is a student who participated in this selection, but he arrived here 20 minutes earlier than you. And in the last stage of this selection, there are no gatekeepers. It's still a strange beast right there." The officer pointed in one direction. Kong Qing and the three followed along. They saw a golden-eyed devil-ape specimen nailed to the wall. This thing was originally alive, and its strength is at the quasi-fifth level. It is a goal that is arranged to challenge a few of you who have the ability to reach the final level. But that kid was so perverted that he killed the golden-eyed demon ape by himself. After finishing the job, it's still not enough and pretending to be a gatekeeper to play tricks on you. Speaking of which, the three of you are quite unlucky to meet such a monster. The officer seemed to be a talker, and when he started talking, he babbled. But Kong Qing and the three of them couldn't listen to what he said later. They only remembered what he said before. "Like you, this kid is a student who participated in this selection." Kong Qing's expression, immersed in great joy, was frozen on her face. Her whole body seemed to be petrified in an instant, and she stood still. Her own voices echoed in Kong Qing's brain and finally converged into one. Xing Ji and Jia Haoran were also stunned in place. Their eyes stared straight at the cold and huge corpse of the golden-eyed demon ape, motionless. Looking at Kong Qing, who was in a trance, they both responded with genuine sympathy and deep pity. "May there be no Pikachu in heaven?" Deep in one of the selection tunnels, a young man was brawling with a tier 4 fierce beast. "I finally caught you." The young man held the beast's neck within his arms, trying to break his neck and kill him, but to his surprise, the beast was too strong. "Damn, this tier 4 beast is too tenacious," said the young man. Finally, he was able to burn the beast to a crisp using his fire elemental spiritual energy. He leaned against the wall with one hand, gasping for breath. "Damn, why is there a 4th-level alien beast? I almost didn't hang here." Zhao Lai gasped violently, feeling the tearing and throbbing pain from many parts of his body. His young face twisted for a while. He looked very embarrassed now. His whole body was tattered, His hair was condensed into pieces by sweat and blood, and there was a place where it was burnt, and it smelled like mush. Zhao Lai stretched out his right hand, trying to create a flame. But he tried his best and couldn't even force a small flame out. My stamina and ability are exhausted. Zhao Lai kicked the wall with his foot, but a proud smile soon appeared on his face. So what? I just successfully killed a 4th level alien beast for the first time. Level 4. Not level 3, nor level 2. It's level 4. Zhao Lai couldn't even believe that he could make such a brilliant record. As expected, the instructors who are watching the selection monitoring should all be shocked by my talent and strength. Just when Zhao Lai was feeling good in his heart, a tall and thin officer with a document in his hand walked up to him. Zhao Lai from Dongyi province, right? Zhao Lai was frightened, but quickly reacted, yes, I am Zhao Lai. Don't go any further. The selection is over. Pack up and get ready to leave with me, the officer said without looking up. Zhao Lai was stunned. In the next second, great anticipation appeared on his face, and he asked eagerly, the selection is over? Instructor, how are my grades? Am I the first? Am I the star of Qiming General? Zhao Lai spoke while eagerly looking at the officer. The officer raised his head, looked at him with strange eyes, shook his head, and said, General Qiming? What are you thinking about? General Qiming was decided half an hour ago. The reason why this selection has been delayed until now is mainly because... He stopped there and looked at the face of Zhao Lai for a moment, and then spoke. Forget it. It doesn't make sense to tell you this. Your ranking will not be determined until all the results are counted. If you look at it visually, 5 out of the list. Alright, time to go. Zhao Lai stayed where he was, with a stupid expression on his face. He started mumbling to himself, Qiming General was decided half an hour ago. I'm 5. 5 out? Is there a mistake? I am Zhao Lai. Able to single-handedly, Zhao Lai can successfully kill a 4th level alien beast for the first time. He shouted loudly at them in a fit of rage. The officer looked at his pitiful state and sighed. He already knew that there was a monster candidate like Lu Xing, so what can a fire elemental do? In the conference hall, all the school officials looked at everything displayed on the surveillance screen, and the corners of their mouths twitched slightly. They don't know how to express their inner feelings at this moment. It's okay to pretend to be a gatekeeper, but Lu Xing even told Kong Qing seriously that she passed the gate and was the general star of Qiming. She was stunned for a moment, and she bowed and thanked him. He also gave the little girl some messy nicknames. Everyone collectively felt sorry for Kong Qing for 3 seconds, and even Major General Yu Fei couldn't stand it anymore, so he couldn't help but order the young officer beside him to give this little girl from Dongzi province a place to enter the alien blood pool. It's not easy for a little girl. Yu Fei shook his head and sighed. The Qiming General Star and the 3 different blood pools have been confirmed, and the selection of the top talent in the entire eastern region has officially come to an end. End the selection, meet all the talented representatives, and calculate the ranking according to the current progress and achievements. Thank you, Master. The chief instructor of Dongzi province stood up from his seat and thanked Yu Fei with tears in his eyes. Only the top 3 are eligible to enter the alien blood pool, and Lu Xing is the well-deserved number 1. There is nothing wrong with Xing Ji's second. But for the 3rd place, Jia Haoren and Kong Qing still have a fight, and Kong Qing may not be able to compete with Jia Haoren. After all, they are spiritual teachers, and their talents are even rarer and stronger than those of elemental control warriors. Now, with a big wave of Yu Fei's hand, Kong Qing directly exempted Kong Qing from this process, and clearly had the qualification to enter the different blood pool. How can the chief instructor of Dongzi province not be excited? The chief instructor looked at Kong Qing, who was stunned like a puppet on the surveillance screen, worried, distressed, and sad. In the end, he could only silently say in his heart, Kong Qing, your efforts are still valuable. Come on, hold on. At the same time, inside the selection channel, it was a little different from what Lu Xing imagined. After exiting the selection channel, he was taken directly back to the room where he lived before. The room was cleaned, and 2 medicines were placed on the small table beside the bed. One is a blue drink, which is marked with supplementary physical energy, and the other is a purple liquid body medicine, which is specially prepared for the spiritual master to replenish the spiritual power. Lu Xing picked up the energy drinks placed on the table and started looking at them. He was wondering if the medicines of this era could be useful to him in any way. Lu Xing's consumption in the selection was not too big. Lu Xing opened the spiritual supplement and poured it into his mouth. A trace of cool feeling immediately diffused from the depths of the cerebral cortex and quickly flowed through the entire brain. It is equivalent to soothing the cerebral cortex, stimulating the brain to release potential, so as to achieve the effect of restoring mental power. In fact, it is equivalent to a high-level functional drink, which has a refreshing effect. In a sense, it is similar to the principle of the crystal view idea. Lu Xing carefully savored the effect of this spiritual potion and found that the effect was really unsatisfactory. After drinking a bottle of potion, it only lasted a few minutes of refreshing feeling, and it was over. Lu Xing recovered less than 1/10 of his spiritual power. Perhaps it has something to do with myself. My spiritual strength and purity are much higher than ordinary third-level spiritual teachers, so the effect is not good. It may be different for others. Immediately after, Lu Xing took the small bottle that restored his physical strength. After Lu Xing drank it, it was not much different from not eating it. It was even worse. Lu Xing suddenly remembered Healingsu. He doesn't know what happened to Healingsu's blood-strengthening potion. Since he came out of Baihe City, Lu Xing has not contacted her again. After taking the medicine, Lu Xing sat on the bed and began to experience the thunder-breathing method he just realized. Switch, breath of thunder. Lu Xing's breathing rate and rhythm suddenly became strange and long. He seemed to be able to hear the muffled sound of thunder rolling in the dark clouds before the rain in his chest. The circulating breath stimulated the muscles and blood in his whole body, including the bones, as if trying to induce something from it. Under this kind of stimulation, Lu Xing punched violently. The sound of the fist breaking through the air became a little different from before. The speed is faster, and the explosive power is stronger. It combines the advantages of the breath of flame and the breath of wind, but whether it has reached the extreme of these two breathing methods. In general, it is considered to have a strong balance, and it is more trendy. In full-scale breathing, thought Lu Xing. Of course, the real power of these 4 breathing techniques that Lu Xing has realized will not be clear until he has truly advanced to the 4th level and cultivated his inner strength. After taking the medicine, Lu Xing sat on the bed and began to experience the thunder-breathing method he just realized. Switch, breath of thunder. The bed was not particularly soft, but Lu Xing was very relaxed. All along, he has been like a string that is tense all the time, and he can't relax at all. Now that Qiming General Selection has settled, he can finally take a breath. Am I pushing myself too hard? Lu Xing raised a hand in front of him, looked at the gray ceiling through the gap between his fingers, and thought silently in his heart. If I don't have such a heavy future, I can live very easily now, very comfortably. For a moment, Lu Xing began to miss the time when he hung out in the crowd in practical class, laughed with his best friend, and went straight to the internet cafe after school. And where he used to sleep secretly in cultural class. Doesn't everyone live like this? What does the development of martial arts in the future have for 10,000 years? Several thoughts started flashing through Lu Xing's mind. Anyway, by that time, I will be dead long ago. I may not even be able to find my descendants. What should I worry about as an ancient person 10,000 years ago? I don't even know if I will have it in my next life, so I'll just have to live happily ever after in this life. Right, Lu Xing. Lu Xing's thoughts began to let go of himself, and something on his body seemed to be gradually leaving him. But in the end, Lu Xing still clenched the 5 fingers that he held in front of him. No. His expression became serious and firm. Since I have seen it with my own eyes, how can I pretend that I haven't seen it? Now that you have made a choice, how can you give up easily? I am not only for the people 10,000 years from now, but also for myself. Seeing the peak, how can you be willing to live in the trough? Not everyone can do things with all their strength, gnashing their teeth and breaking bones. I should feel lucky. Lu Xing's eyes were completely calm. I'm here, I see, I'm burning for this. This is what I chose and what I want. At this moment, the golden scorching sun in Lu Xing's mind suddenly shines brightly, and infinite light and infinite heat are released. In his body, he outlines densely packed tiny blood vessels, muscles, tendons, nerve endings, divine illumination of the King of Hell Sutra, breaking through. Lu Xing's eyes shone with brilliant golden light. His spiritual power increased by 50% and qi and blood also increased by 20%. Lu Xing relaxed his body and quickly entered the dream space. The first thing Lu Xing did after entering the dream space was to immediately call up his personal information to check. Lu Xing died at the age of 297 after becoming a 7th level martial grandmaster. He became a 2nd level warrior at the age of 18, causing a sensation in Baihe City. Later, under the recommendation of the Baihe Wushu Association, he participated in the talent training camp of Dongning Province, and won first place in the training camp. Participated in the selection of Qiming generals in the East that year and won the title of Qiming generals. The overall information is similar to what Lu Xing saw last time, but the resume has become more beautiful. The upper limit of strength has not changed, and it is still the 7th level master realm. On the contrary, the evaluation of the characters has increased by half a star, reaching a height of 3.5 stars. This is probably related to Lu Xing's choice to join the Eastern Military Region and finally become a Lieutenant General of the Eastern Military Region. This also caused Lu Xing to live 20 years less than the last time and die early in a large-scale battle with alien beasts. If I don't die, is it possible to break through to the 8th level Grandmaster? Lu Xing thought, but this idea was quickly dismissed. This kind of boring and meaningless thing, there was no need to delve into it. What? Lu Xing suddenly found something in the information, which made his face full of strangeness. He actually found out that on his profile this time, the name of the person in the spouse column turned out to be Dong Qingxue. Instructor Dong Qinggu? Dong Qingxue's tall, slim, cold, and beautiful appearance quickly appeared in his mind. Lu Xing was dumbfounded. No way, Dong Qingxue is a dozen years older than me. How could I marry her? It's not a young grass eaten by an old cow. Lu Xing felt quite absurd. But if you think about it carefully, if you become a Qiming general of the Eastern Military Region, you will definitely join the Eastern Military Region without any accident. And Dong Qingxue is also from the Eastern Military Region. There is a previous relationship, coupled with a long-term relationship. It doesn't seem like it's impossible. Fuck, Instructor Dong Qingxue will be my wife in the future. Lu Xing's face was ugly. I won't be able to look directly at Dong Qingxue in the future. No, I have to find someone to vent. Calm down and calm down. Saying that, Lu Xing turned into a cloud of blue smoke and rushed towards the position of the Grand Master Valkyrie. 3 days passed in a flash. Soon came the day when Qiming General Star was officially recognized. Lu Xing then went to the large conference hall, pushed the door open, and entered. All the people inside looked at Lu Xing. Lu Xing saw Dong Qingxue and Qin Shaojun, including the 3 Xingji who had met in the selection channel before. Lu Xing also saw a middle-aged man in a military uniform with a golden star on his shoulders, and he had an aura of not being angry and arrogant. He guessed in his heart that this person should be the top person in charge of this selection, Major General Yu Fei of the Eastern Military Region. When Yu Fei saw Lu Xing coming in, he greeted him with a kind smile on his face as an elder saw his younger generation. Not bad, quite a bit like the young marshal of my Eastern Military Region. Many school officials in the field all trembled subconsciously when they heard this. Now that everyone is here, let's get started. Yu Fei announced lightly. Immediately afterward, officers presented badges and awards one by one. The whole process was rather bland. Talented representatives from all provinces and regions participating in the selection, regardless of their ranking, will receive a special badge issued by the Eastern Military Region. Ordinary people are brass-colored, similar to the material of warrior badges. The three Xingji, Kong Qing, and Jia Haoren were made of silver, and Lu Xing's is brilliant golden. Yu Fei put it on Lu Xing himself. As if treating his own son and nephew, he patted him on the shoulder and said with a smile, "This is the same material as the Grandmaster badge, but the style is different. I hope one day you can wear the badge that truly represents the Grandmaster." Lu Xing looked solemn and said calmly, "It will happen." Yu Fei was stunned for a moment, and then he laughed when Lu Xing further spoke, saying, "That day is not too far away, Master." General Yu Fei laughed loudly as he said, "Great, then I will be waiting for that day to come." Others had complex expressions on their faces. Lu Xing dared to say this, and it didn't make people feel proud, as if he was just stating a matter of course. Moreover, the Eastern Military Region has selected Qiming generals every year, but Yu Fei treats them with a harsh attitude. Lu Xing was the first to be treated like this. Immediately after that, the top 10 received a bonus of exotic beast's blood. Lu Xing also got one. A small test tube containing about 300 milliliters of scarlet liquid. If it wasn't for Lu Qinghe to use it, Lu Xing couldn't help but want to open it and taste it. "Okay, Lu Xing, the four of you come with me, and the others will disband." Yu Fei waved his hand and took the lead to walk outside the conference hall. Xing Ji, who has been waiting for the special rewards, was excited. It's finally their turn. Kong Qing and Jia Haoren were really excited because Lu Xing had not done a prank on them. Only one of them would be able to receive special rewards, but now both of them can get it. Lu Xing, Xing Ji, and their respective chief instructors followed, while the rest could only stare at them with envy. They know that this is going to enter a different blood pool, a different marrow pool. This year's Enlightenment General's reward is unprecedented. After walking for about 5 or 6 minutes, Lu Xing and the others followed Yu Fei to a bright room full of test tubes. Several officers in yellow coats were busy inside, and when they saw Yu Fei coming in, they stopped their movements and greeted him. "Are you ready?" Yu Fei asked. "Everything is ready to enter at any time," said the lab attendant. Yu Fei waved at the students to let them in. As they entered, the huge head of an exotic beast appeared in front of them, hanging upside down from the ceiling. The students could not help but be astonished by this fascinating scene. They could feel the pressure from the beast's eyes, even though it was dead. After walking further ahead, Yi Fei stopped at a place. Turning around, he said, "This is it. The three of you, change your clothes and prepare to enter the cultivation chamber." Jia Haoren and Xing Ji immediately tore off their clothes and ran towards the cultivation chamber. While on the other hand, Kong Qing was hesitating to undress. She was rather dumbfounded. Then, her instructor came to aid her in changing clothes. As she looked at the cultivation chambers, she said subconsciously, "Wow, so this is level 5 special exotic blood." She was excited to witness a whole chamber filled with special exotic blood for her rather than just a test tube. While she was pondering, Jia Haoren and Xing Ji had already started to jump into their respective chambers to absorb the special blood into their bodies. Yi Fei led Lu Xing to a different room inside the lab. "Lu Xing came with me. I took him to the special marrow pool." Lu Xing nodded and followed along. After walking for some moments, he entered a completely different lab. Lu Xing saw in front of him a 2-meter-high, 1-meter diameter cultivation tank filled with a small semi-pale golden liquid. "Is this the special marrow?" Lu Xing looked at the light golden liquid like amber flowing slowly in the transparent glass with some curiosity, and couldn't help but ask the female officer beside him, "Why is it only a small half? Why not fill it up?" Dong Qingxue, who was managing the operation, rolled her eyes and said angrily, "A small half? Do you know how much it would cost to have so many different marrows here? More than 1.5 billion. This is just the cost. If you sell it, the price will increase by at least 10 times. Do you still want to fill up?" Lu Xing nodded in amazement, then turned serious and said, 1.5 billion. I see, but what if I don't absorb enough? Can I still refill? Dong Qingxue frowned and said, first finish absorbing it. Let me tell you, no one in the past has managed to absorb even half of this amount. Hurry up and go in. Absorbing this special marrow is not a simple task. Dong Qingxue waved at him, and then walked away. Lu Xing hurriedly started to unbutton his military uniform, watching from side to side. What about the clothes? Why do I have to change? Lu Xing asked while moving towards the special marrow chamber. The best absorption is without clothing, said Dong Qingxue. Lu Xing stopped talking nonsense and took off his clothes neatly, leaving only a pair of shorts, and got in. Dong Qingxue glanced at Lu Xing's whole body with scrutiny eyes, looking at his smooth and perfect muscles, well-proportioned and tall figure, and nodded in appreciation. I can't tell, but the figure is not bad. Lu Xing jumped into the training bin with a plop, avoiding the wolf-like eyes. As soon as he entered the cultivation chamber, the pale golden liquid in it did not reach Lu Xing's neck immediately. It seemed that something was squeezing his skin desperately, trying to get into his body. At this time, the faint voice of the Dong Qingxue sounded in the ear. If you want to absorb better, don't show your head. Lu Xing immediately dived, allowing the pale golden liquid to cover his entire body. This time, the energies in the water like living creatures rushed him quickly along his 7 orifices. Lu Xing simply opened his mouth and took a big gulp, closed his eyes, and began to absorb the legendary blood-soaked liquid that was worth 10,000 gold in a single drop. He could feel the special power from the exotic beast marrow entering his body. So that is why they say it's impossible to absorb all. The pressure on my body is immense, thought Lu Xing. Lu Xing took a breather and then closed his mouth, trying to endure the pressure. He activated the natural breathing technique and started absorbing the power inside the special marrow instantly. He could feel a huge dragon-like existence staring at him while he absorbed the marrow. The beast had huge scales all over its body, with an elongated body. It seemed to be the spirit of the beast retained inside the beast's marrow. Some time had already passed. In the other lab, the 3 students' geniuses were absorbing special beast blood inside their respective cultivation chambers. Suddenly, inside one of the cultivation chambers, a student opened his eyes. A slender figure jumped out and stood firmly on the ground. It was Jia Haoren. He breathed heavily while panting. He still could not believe the effects that the special blood had on his body. The officer next to him brought up a large towel. Take this towel and wipe yourself. The absorption effect is good. The foreign blood in the first warehouse is almost completely absorbed by you, as expected of a genius. The officer next to him praised. Jia Haoren took the towel and began to wipe the water stains and foreign blood remaining on his body. During this process, Jia Haoren's body continued to make a crisp sound of crackling, which is a manifestation of the substantial improvement of his physique and the rapid improvement of his martial arts strength. Jia Haoren felt the explosive power contained in his not-so-strong muscles, and a great self-confidence emerged from the bottom of his heart. It's not far from the 4th level, and my spiritual power has also increased a little. If I am facing Lu Xing again now. Jia Haoren thought for a while and immediately chose to give up. Jia Haoren smiled, and suddenly asked curiously, "Where are the others?" The officer glanced aside and said, "It should be soon, you are the first to come out." Jia Haoren's face froze, and the complacency that had just risen in his heart disappeared immediately. The longer the time spent in the abnormal blood pool, the more abnormal blood absorbed and the greater the benefits. He turned out to be the first one to come out, and the other 3 are still absorbing. However, Jia Haoren was relieved when he thought that his real reliance was mental strength, and his talent in martial arts was a little weaker. At this time, a figure came out from the side. Kong Qing's figure appeared in front of Jia Haoren. Although her clothes were neatly dressed, her hair was still wet. Kong Qing is similar to me, maybe a little bit stronger than me, but not much stronger. Jia Haoren was in a better mood, and Kong Qing nodded. Kong Qing was also quite surprised by the effects of Tier 5 special blood. She was able to absorb a full chamber of special blood. She was now close to breaking through rank 4 martial artist, and her innate ability also ranked up. The two finished packing and walked to another place. Just then, another figure came out of the cultivation chamber. He was Sheng. This special blood is truly a treasure. With a little bit of consolidation, I will be able to break through rank 5, said Sheng. Xingji's instructor came over with his clothes and a towel and spoke, "You are indeed a genius. In just 1 year you were able to progress from rank 4 to rank 5. Back in the day, it took around 10 years. Jia Haoren noticed that there was still about a third of the foreign blood in the cultivation warehouse, and couldn't help but wonder, Xingji, you haven't absorbed all the foreign blood in the chamber? Are you close to breaking through rank 5? Xingji turned his head when he heard the sound, glanced at Jia Haoren lightly, and said nothing. The officer next to him said in a rather complicated tone, "You are mistaken, this was his second chamber of special blood." Jia Haoren and Kong Qing's pupils shrank slightly, their hearts shaking. Jia Haoren said in a trembling voice, "Second chamber, that is to say, this guy absorbed a full 2/3 more abnormal blood than us at the same time as I was already worse than him, but now the gap is getting wider and wider." Jia Haoren and Kong Qing's eyes on Xingji suddenly became more complicated. Just when Xingji had just put on his clothes and hadn't had time to button up, a collective exhalation sound suddenly came from the innermost part of the room. He turned around to take a look. As he looked inside the innermost room, he witnessed Lu Xing absorbing special marrow. After watching him, Xingji shouted loudly, "How is this possible? What is with this insane absorption speed?" Yu Fei paced to the training warehouse, looked at the boy with his eyes closed in the transparent glass warehouse, and said, "How is it? Is it going well?" Dong Qinxue nodded, then frowned and said, "It's just that the consumption of the different marrow is a bit fast." Yu Fei looked at the light golden liquid level that was about to drop below his eyes and said casually, "As far as his strength can absorb, don't be too harsh, pour everything in the storage warehouse, and try to get the best effect." Yu Fei was quite proud. After some time, a lab attendant hurriedly shouted while pointing at Lu Xing's chamber saying, "Report, this is bad, something terrible had happened. The extra bone marrow fluid in the storage warehouse has already been drained." "What?" Yu Fei was stunned for a moment and subconsciously glanced at the watch in his hand. "It's only been a few minutes?" Yu Fei's expression became serious, staring at the closed-eyed teenager in the training warehouse, and said, "Then go to the warehouse quickly. I want to see how much surprise this kid can give me." Yi Fei closed in on Lu Xing's chamber as he kept staring at him. He wondered, "I am really curious. What more astonishing does this kid have under his sleeve?" Some time had passed, and Lu Xing had been immersed in absorbing the special marrow into his body. Lu Xing felt a trace of heat flowing in the body. So now, he is completely immersed in the scalding heat. The turbulent energy like a flood flooded freely in his body. Every inch of his skin, every trace of flesh and blood, and even every strand of hair is immersed in the embrace of energy, absorbing it to the fullest, the devourer. The training warehouse was too small, and Lu Xing could not move his hands and feet. So he simply entered the dream space, and then practiced the stellar body refinement technique in the dream space. Although the effect of practicing the stellar body refinement technique in reality is much different, it was the only choice. The special marrow kept on decreasing rapidly as Lu Xing progressed in the stellar body technique. Another bucket of 4th-level different marrow was injected into the cultivation chamber, which did not pass over the top of Lu Xing's head. Then it quickly decreased at a speed visible to the naked eye, and in the blink of an eye, Lu Xing's thick eyebrows and eyes appeared again. The lab attendant next to Lu Xing opened his mouth to speak and said, "Master, should we continue?" Yu Fei's face was expressionless as he spoke, "Keep it coming, don't stop, let him absorb." But the hands behind his back were trembling slightly. Yu Fei said word by word, "This kid can absorb, so let him absorb it openly." "I don't believe it. he can exhaust the entire reserves of our East military region. Another 2 barrels of 4th grade different marrow were sent up. The natural breathing method rotates rapidly, breathing within the body by itself, bringing a steady stream of power. Lu Xing practiced the movements of the immortal golden body over and over again, tempering the muscles and bones of the whole body over and over again. The influx of a lot of energy made his physique surge forward on the road to the immortal golden body. Lu Xing was overjoyed. Is this the different marrow? The effect is really terrifying. Lu Xing could clearly perceive that energy was pouring into his body continuously, as if it were endless. Then a small pot of different marrow can bring such a huge amount of energy, and there is still more to help me complete the first stage of the immortal golden body. This is just the 4th level. Different marrow is already so terrifying. What about the 5th level, 6th level, 7th level, or even the 7th level and above? Simply unimaginable. The first stage of the immortal golden body has been completed. At the same time, Master, do you want to add more? The lab attendant looked at more than a dozen empty glass jars by the training warehouse and walked up to Yufei to ask. Yufei's lips trembled slightly. He is a Grand Master of a generation and a Major General of the 7th rank, and he can't calm down at this moment. Is the consumption rate still increasing? Yufei let out a long breath, and the whole person relaxed. Suddenly, he became agitated and scolded. Damn it, if this kid doesn't join our Eastern military region in the future, I'll have to rip off his skin. The cost of stockpiling a chamber is 1 billion. After adding it 13 times, it is a full 13 billion. In order to avoid waste, Lu Xing is not in a hurry to go out and continues to use the remaining different marrow to start the second stage of the immortal golden body tempering, along with stimulating the inner strength between the flesh and bones to generate faster. Originally, there was only a slight hint of golden bones, but at this moment, it quickly turned golden. Lu Xing felt that there seemed to be countless volcanoes erupting suddenly in his body. Blood was hot like magma. The blood value is skyrocketing every minute and every second, rushing and roaring in the blood vessels, and constantly evolving towards the level of thick mercury slurry. Under the mental power, the bones of the whole body are already stained with gold, brilliant and dazzling. Between the bones and the muscles, something seems to be breeding and growing at this time. Inner strength. At this moment, Lu Xing has already passed the 3rd level and officially entered the level of the 4th level warrior. For other warriors, it may just be the process of raising the inner strength from the 3rd level to the 4th level. But for Lu Xing, this is not just as simple as inner strength generation. The completion of the first stage of the immortal golden body tempering represents a huge breakthrough in his physique. It also means that his astral power, blood increases, strength, speed, defense. His overall combat effectiveness will usher in an unprecedented terrifying increase. I don't know how much time, energy, and money saved. Lu Xing wondered. Just then the chamber in which Lu Xing was absorbing special blood got blown up. All the lab attendants ran away. Yifei looked in surprise and said, "This cannot be real. Lu Xing has actually depleted all of the special marrow. Do we not have enough in our entire military reserve to satiate him alone? Is there a black hole hidden in this kid Lu Xing?" Yifei laughed crazily as he pondered over Lu Xing's monstrous potential and talent. Dong Qingxue was also amazed by Lu Xing's performance. It seemed like Lu Xing had left an impression on her. As the chamber exploded, the mist started releasing from the inside and spread throughout the room. Just then a golden figure rose up from the chamber. They saw a figure as strong as a dragon jumping out of the training warehouse. A slender and upright body stood, and droplets of golden water dropped down the gaps between the lines of the muscles, dripping onto the floor. The fair skin is like jade, and there seems to be a hidden golden luster underneath. The eyes of several female officers in the room all shone with splendor, watching intently. Lu Xing instantly wore his clothes and came down from the chamber. Xing Ji, who just came inside the inner room, was dumbfounded as he witnessed Lu Xing's power. "Why? He is so strong that I can't even come close," he gritted as he stared at Lu Xing. Jia Haoren and Kong Qing felt shivers down their spine as they felt Xing Ji's killing intent. They trembled in fear. Dong Qingxue looked at Lu Xing and spoke, "In just 2 months, you not only caught up to me. You have even eclipsed by becoming even stronger." She could not help but envy Lu Xing's talent. Suddenly Lu Xing heard a loud voice calling his name. It was Yufei. His eyes were burning. And suddenly he stepped forward abruptly, reaching out and grabbing straight at the high-spirited young man in front of him. Lu Xing stood there dumbfounded for a moment. "Master," Dong Qingxue exclaimed. Lu Xing did not dodge but instead, his face burst into anticipation and excitement. His right arm tensed like a big bow, and then he threw a punch. 10 times the power of the stars. Grandmaster skills, 10 suns in the sky. Lu Xing and everyone's eyes instantly became more dazzling, shrouded in dazzling golden light, and 10 illusory golden suns rose from behind him. The heat wave was surging. Even Yufei was impressed by Lu Xing's momentum and courage. The white fist and the broad palm collided fiercely. A white air wave visible to the naked eye erupted. The air wave quickly spread out, knocking the countless instruments and utensils in the entire room up and down, making a ping-pong sound. Lu Xing took a few steps back and stepped on cracked footprints on the hard floor. Shaking his sore arms, he smiled bitterly. "Master, you are using too much energy. I just entered the 4th level." "Level 4? Haha." Yufei's eyes shone with divine light, and he laughed loudly. The aura belonging to the martial arts master spread to the surroundings, like a tidal wave. Golden bones and jade muscles, the image of a grandmaster, with a combat power of more than 500,000, you are ashamed to say that you have just entered the 4th level. Lu Xing spread his hands and said helplessly, "But I'm level 4. Yufei smiled and scolded, "I don't care if you are level 4. If you eat my 15 billion different marrow fluid, it would be considered light to hit you with the palm of your hand." Lu Xing was dumbly bound as he came to know the actual reason. That's all for today. If you like the next part of this manhwa, just comment below. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for getting epic content on this channel. See you next time.